Are you looking for an easy, quick way to build community in your classroom? Today, we're going to talk about my favorite way to do this, and it is through using something called morning meetings. Before we talk about what elements I like to include in my morning meeting, love if you take a second and hit the like and subscribe button so that you don't miss any future videos. Let's get back to it. Now, you might be thinking, I've heard of morning meetings before, but honestly, Heather, I do not have enough time to get through everything that I need to get through, much less add on an additional thing like morning meetings. I would say I completely understand. It actually wasn't until my 5th year of teaching that I decided to add on morning meetings because I just honestly couldn't get through everything and I could not add on another thing. But as soon as I added morning meetings into play, I really saw the value and the sense of classroom community building that it did. And after that, I was all in. So I will say that, yes, morning meetings can take a long time. They can go long. And so my solution for you is that I like to keep my morning meetings to 10 to 15 minutes. Sometimes I have to set a timer. So set a timer for the amount of time that you have. And when the timer goes off, the meeting is done. As the year progresses, that you just try to get faster and better at it. Of course, as it's new for students, it's going to take a long time, especially like the sharing aspect. But as the year progresses, the students get a lot quicker at it, and you can actually get through a lot in those 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, so I want to talk about the elements that I like to include in my morning meeting in case you've decided that you want to try out morning meetings. I like to include 5 easy, quick activities. They're not actually even all activities in my morning meeting. And so these 5 things consist of greetings, a group activity / game, sharing, morning message, and a closing. All right, so first off, we always start with some kind of a greeting. This helps students to get to know each other's names. There's lots of fun greetings out there, and I always make sure that my greetings, this should be the quickest part. Students walking around, you give them like a fun way to greet each other, and students walk around and they say good morning to each other for about 30 seconds or so. After they've done their greeting, we all sit down and we talk about what our group activity / game is going to be for that day. And so I usually have just some kind of like a morning slides where I've already come up with like what we're going to do for the week, or sometimes to make it even easier on myself. On Mondays, we always do like the same game. On Tuesdays, we always do the same thing. And so it makes it easy. And then as the students kind of like as the year goes on, I like to trade stuff out. But some ideas are things you could do, some kind of like a name game, or some of the self-control games that I shared like in this video are great activities to practice skills that your students are needing in a short, timely manner. After I've done my group activity or a game, we actually go into some kind of a morning message. So you might have seen messages that kind of look like this, where it is a letter to the students about maybe like what we're doing that day. Sometimes teachers like to incorporate sounding out different words or like a little activity in this letter to the students. Now, personally, that got to be too much for me. I did not have time to write my students a letter every single morning. So instead, I actually moved into more of like an educational slide of something that had to do with something that we learned about the week before. So maybe if we had been practicing adding, I might throw up a slide that looks like this, where students are adding and they're at the end, we're telling each other the answer, what we think it is. We go through it really fast and answer it, and then we move on. You can also do like a question of the day, something for students to discuss, which is great because that gets them orally communicating with one another. Basically, you're just in a very short way practicing some kind of an academic skill in your morning message. After you've gone through these things, so by this point, we're probably about 5 minutes in. So now we have about 5 to 10 minutes left of our morning meeting. And this is where we're going into the sharing aspect, which is a really, really important aspect, but it's also an aspect that can take the longest amount of time. So what I like to do is I like to take the amount of time that we have left and kind of like divide it by number of students, subtract a few seconds, and come up with like about how long students are allowed to talk for, especially in the beginning of the year. And I tell them that they're going to only have about this long to share. Students can share positive things that are happening. Sometimes they're going to share things that are kind of like a struggle or a harder thing in their life. But this just gives them a time to talk with their classmates. But I don't know, if you've ever been in a classroom, a kindergarten classroom with students sharing, then you will know that there are just moments that like they will talk on and on about something that like doesn't even have to do with anything. And so like you have to cut them off or you will never get to the next person. After we share, which is actually one of the most important aspects of our morning meeting, then we'll just go into a closing, which I like to do just like a short little like class song or a class cheer or something like that. And so we will close up our meeting and then we will go on with the rest of our day. I love morning meetings because they really help build a consistent routine where we get together as a whole class and in a whole community and help build those family like friendships within our classroom community. I hope that you will give morning meetings a try. If you need any sort of ideas for any of the things that I explained in the video, feel free to drop me a comment and I will see you guys next time.